Welcome back to another edition of Vikings Film Room, brought to you by the Vikings Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Pete Bercich. Now, with the 23rd selection of the 2023 draft, the Minnesota Vikings selected Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC. Now, for most of us, we thought, we need some other positions. However, once we turn on the film and take a look at what this kid brings to the table, you're going to understand exactly why he was chosen in the first round. Now, anytime we here at Film Room look at a wide receiver, we evaluate them by two main things. Number one, the ability to create separation, and number two, catch radius. More important than height, weight, and speed. Now, Jordan Addison knows how to do these things. He's an unbelievable route runner, but the devil's in the details. Let's take a look here. Red zone, everything's compacted, one-on-one, right? Everything's magnified because everything's so close in. Now, you see Addison one-on-one on the outside, but here is the key. Number one, this DB right now thinks he's getting two fades, right? He's looking over his left shoulder. This guy thinks, I gotta stay on him because he's gonna work himself up the middle of the field. However, quarterback's starting to dash, but watch what Addison does next. It's that whipping that head around and accelerate to this area to create space. Look at that space between he and the DB, and it's a touchdown. All right, another example of Addison being able to create separation. Red zone play, right? Watch this on the ball, on the snap of the football. You're getting what? You're getting the RPO action up here. Normally when you get the RPO, you're RPOing one of these linebackers and you're gonna get the slant right behind it. So he is absolutely selling this slant. This corner's getting ready to squeeze because he's got to make a play, so it's not a touchdown. But watch what happens. Addison takes this thing inside, plants that foot, gets the head around, and works himself to the outside. The DB has to make a speed turn to try to get to him. It's an easy touchdown. This kid is a great route runner. So on top of his athleticism, it's the versatility that matters. Now, this guy won the Biletnikoff Award last year at Pittsburgh. So UCLA, these defenses, they know they've got to stop him. So they move him where he can get open. They put him in the backfield as a running back. We've seen that with Justin Jefferson. But they also put the two big tight ends over here. You've got all the big bodies over here, a couple linebackers, a safety. Hey, he can run like no running back in the college football, so just let him sprint right down the field. You get a great throw. He's wide open. Just the versatility, man. You could put him in places to make plays. Because of his versatility, he's also a great whip screen guy. And you're going to see this against Stanford. Out here in the slot, ball's thrown his way. Now, fans of Film Room will know what Coach O'Connell says. When you catch that whip screen, what should happen? Your feet should be in the ground. Well, he kind of had to leave his feet, maybe not, but if he can get his feet planted, watch what would happen here. He already has enough wiggle to get the first block and just barely gets the ankle tackle there. Coach O'Connell, these guys getting together, he's going to be even better at the whip screen. Now, there was a lot said about the precision of his routes in his press conference. This is a great example of that. This is just a hitch to the outside, but the devil's in the details. So you'll watch him. As he gets off the ball, he starts to widen that thing out just a little bit, plants that foot, that DB gets completely turned around. But again, the separation, it's not about speed, it's about how well he runs routes. Now, another example of him just getting himself wide open, it's not the routes, it's how he runs them. In this case, he's in the slot, right? Quarterback knows he's probably going to get something on the outside to clear that outside zone, but he doesn't just run straight up the field. Watch this angle he takes. He pulls that safety in. He brings him in just a little bit, just so he can bite, and then plants that foot, and it's the speed turn. He gets that head around, and then it becomes a foot race to the sideline. This DB is already out of position. His feet are wide apart. He's got them all tied up. Look at that, falls on the ground, catches that football, no one within 3 or 4 yards. He's really an artist when it comes to some of these routes. Now, we saw him run the out route as a slot receiver. In this case, he's all the way on the outside. He's the Z, but he's inside the hash mark. Open up that top part of the field. Watch how he ties up this corner. He gets him up the field, and right as he gets to the break, he puts that foot in the ground. Look at the position of the corner. He's crossed over. He can't roll his hips fast enough. Ball's thrown. Just a beautiful option when a cornerback is in a deep third situation. He's going to be doing a lot of that for the Vikings this year. Watch how this young man builds on his route tree. We saw him do the out route as a slot and as the #1 receiver on the outside. So what's next? Well, it's the out and up. And it's how he does it. Again, it's the details with which he runs this route. He gets himself up the field, but he turns his head, right? So this corner, as he sits here, he sees this quarterback working his way outside. It looks just like a dash. But the fact that he turns his head, that's what they tell a DB. Don't bite until you see the wide receiver look back for the football. He looks back, cornerback bites on him and gets that separation. Again, perfect pass, huge play. The out to the out and up, just a wonderful tree. So one of the key things is being able to create separation as a wide receiver. The second thing are contested catches. In this case, this is a nice deep over route, right? This is one we see Justin Jefferson run all the time. But watch, the speed up the field, looks back at the quarterback, knows that this space is open. The corner tries to get in there, but he still goes up with a taller corner and is able to bring that football in. This is a great example of a contested catch. All right, so from the slot, we've seen the out and up. How about a post route? Deep over. Just, again, the details with which this kid runs routes, and we'll see it when he gets up the field. First of all, he works himself inside, then he gets himself vertical, and right at this spot, he knows he has a deep third safety. This guy does not know if he's going to go outside or cut across, but because he's bending this thing back, he's not just running to a point, he's working himself up the field, puts that foot in the dirt because he wants to work back to the middle of the field. Look at the space that he creates right there. And if he doesn't have to run back for that catch, he might have caught that thing and been gone. But his ability to create space up the field is amazing too. All right, we saw him run the post as a slot. How about as an outside receiver? This play gets you excited because of what this guy does. This safety in the middle of the field, you're gonna watch him. He's working himself toward the middle. That puts this guy in an outside position. No way he's gonna catch him. Look at this throw. Cousins is gonna throw that ball, hit him in stride, breaks the tackle, gets himself into the end zone. If they don't watch out for him, we're gonna beat him deep. All right, another thing about Addison that stands out is his ability to understand route combinations and how to work within them. In this case, we're gonna see 3 receivers to this side, but these 2 inside guys are gonna take off down the field to pull these defenders to get him one-on-one, and you'll see how beautifully this works. As he gets up the field, these defenders are already turned. They're already heading this way. That leaves him one-on-one right here with this defender, and he gets him turned around. But he also understands that it's zone, so he's not running across the field. He settles. Look at the space he creates by settling in that situation, able to turn up and gain some more yards. So he understands the route combinations as well. Now, a great example of him understanding how to adapt the route to coverage is this play right here. And it's the coverage behind is going to dictate what he does. So watch him adjust this route. He starts out in the slot and he works his way up the field, but once he gets past this defender, he sees that he has 3 deep. He knows he has a corner on the outside and a safety in the middle of the field, so he can't just run this post right into this defender. So what he'll do is he's gonna bend this thing toward the middle of the field. He's gonna bend the post to more of a dig and just settle in that nice area in between zones, comes down with the catch. So he's able to identify coverages in route and make those adjustments and get himself open. And finally, another example of Addison understanding what's going on behind him defensively to get himself open. You see this play right here. What do you have up front? You've got at least 7 defensive players at the line of scrimmage. But what do you notice? When you look back here, there's no deep middle safety. He takes advantage of this. Now watch, the inside route will pull the underneath defender and the 1 safety. He's one-on-one with this corner. Watch him set him up to the outside, sprint to the middle of the field, catch the ball in stride. Just a beautiful play against the blitz.